stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call From's not gonna be here. Gill?
Here.
Broker?
Here.
Judy?
Here.
Krieger? Here. Actor?
Here.
5 present. Approve the minutes of the June 25th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Broker, second by Judy to approve the minutes of the June 25th, 2024 City Council meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any public comment tonight? Okay, no public comment. Okay, number 6, consideration of Mr. Christian Claghorn's appeal of Chapter 9, Section 28 of Kiel Municipal Code regarding sexual offender residency restrictions. Okay, we've got I think we got a letter that was sent in by Mr. Claghorn. I believe he's present.
Mr. Mayor, before we start, should I
Yes.
just go over what the appeal on the ordinance? You think
Sure.
that'd be helpful?
Sure.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
I'll just read, so the council's aware of the pertinent statute, or ordinance, I should say, and what it says. So it says the 1,000-foot requirement may be waived upon approval of the city council through appeal by the affected party. Such appeal shall be made in writing to the city clerk's office, who shall forward the request to the city council, which shall receive the reports from the City of Kiel Police Department on such appeal. The Kiel City Council shall convene and consider the public interest as well as the affected parties' presentation and concerns. After deliberation, the City Council shall forward its decision in writing via the minutes or otherwise to the City of Kiel Police Department for their information and action. A written copy of the decision shall be provided to the affected party. So that's just the ordinance that deals with the appeal, so the council's aware. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Claghorn, do you want to make a statement?
Sure. I've come to know, like, I've pretty much gotten to know this place and pretty much got accustomed to it. You know, I'm trying to find a job here around here, so I can actually live comfortably and live my life accordingly. I have children of my own that's here, and I will want them to have a single family home and live with me and their mother. And at the end of the day, I'm just hoping for a great opportunity to be able to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
On June 26th of this month, I received a letter from the Department of Corrections notifying me that Mr. Claghorn was going to be moving into the city of Kiel at 620 12th Street, Lot 10, which was later determined to be 10C. After receiving that letter, I did do a check on the sex offender registry website to find out what he had been placed on the registry for. He's been placed on the registry for 2 counts. One was repeated sexual assault with the same child, at least 3 violations, first or second degree sexual assault. And the second was repeated sexual assault with the same child, at least 3 violations of first or second degree sexual assault. Based on that, he was placed on the registry. That is a qualifying offense based on our ordinance. So after that, I did do a measurement of the proposed area where he wanted to live. Right here's a map I used using Manitowoc GIS's mapping software. The circle is the southwestern point of Lions Park, which would be the closest to the area of residence. Because that's all one parcel there at 620, it's somewhere down this middle road on the east side. I wasn't able to determine the exact spot where 10C is, but as you can see, that entire access road is within the 1,000-foot.
Okay, so the street address for the whole park is listed as 12th Street, but then it's like subdivided inside.
The ones on 12th Street are A's, then there's
Yeah.
B's, then C's, and then D's over there. So,
Yeah, I saw Mr. Claghorn's insert into our packet, and he approximated it at 0.22 miles. But I think the only property that's
guys look at that.
Yep.
In addition to what he was placed on the registry for, there were several other offenses on there. There was a violation in 2013 of an electric monitoring program, which I can assume has something to do with the sexual offender registry, but I'm not positive. There was also several other holds for felony offenses, not classified, use of alcohol, resist or instruct officer. There's some short-term sanctions, which I'm not sure what the cause of that was, violated electronic monitoring, other felony offense not classified here. Failure to comply with sexual offender registry program. And another violation for violation of sex offender rules. And there was also in 2020, sexual assault of a child. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but that was on there as well. So, and all those violations range, that was 9 total violations in between 2013, which I assume was his release date from the original offense, and 2020. So, that's pretty much all I have, unless you have any other questions for me.
So the last one you had is 2020?
2020. Although I believe were you just released from something not that long ago? When I talked to your program manager down in Milwaukee, I think it's Milwaukee, I don't remember who I talked to, but you had just been released like right before this, right before you moved up here?
Yes, before I was moved up here, I was released from Sand Ridge Secure Treatment Center. And the one in 2020, everything that he stated, that neither one of those was a conviction. They were actual not revocations, but allegations to a revocation. So like I said, I just got released from Sand Ridge. I was deemed not a sexual violent person, which I stated in the letter that I received for the way. And I know one will have to report to a probation officer. As far as from my conviction, that happened in 2009. I was convicted in 2009. I was charged as an adult. I was 16 years old. As of right now, that I can honestly say that it's no longer me. That's no longer what I actually gained. You know, I can honestly say I made a mistake, and I'm just trying to move on and live with my life.
Point of clarification on your comments. You said that you weren't convicted on those extra charges that were brought forward?
No, I wasn't. No, sir, I was
So
not.
those were those violations of your probation status that were considered for revoking your probation status? Is that what they were?
Correct, but
Okay.
on some of those occasions, I was not revoked.
Okay. I'm just asking for clarification.
Right.
I'm not accusing you. And then,
You were still placed in custody though for probation violations.
Probation, correct. For
Okay.
probation violations, I was in custody.
Okay.
Whenever they do like an allegation or something, you have to be in custody for that. So yes, I was in custody for it.
Okay.
were you convicted of the GPS monitoring violations?
Convicted of the GPS mine?
Yeah. Did you remove your GPS tracking device? Were you
Yes,
placed
I
on
did.
this?
In
Okay.
2015, I removed my GPS tracking monitoring bracelet. I ended up being deemed time served because they didn't charge me until the actual 2018. And so I ended up getting time served. I ended up pleading guilty and ended up getting time served.
Okay.
I believe the police department's position on this is, there has been a significant amount of time that's elapsed since the original offense that was placed on the sex offender registry. However, based on his probation behavior, there is a lot of extra violations and a lot of lack of following the rules. I don't believe enough, at least for the police department, enough time has elapsed since his last violation. So we want a lot of time where there was a clean track record. That
allowed to ask questions about
Sure.
the original offense?
Sure.
Okay. How old were you at the time of the alleged offense?
I was 16 years old.
Okay, that was conviction or offense or violation?
At the offense, the conviction was, when I actually got convicted, I was 16 years old, so.
Okay. The victims, what were the ages of the victims?
The ages were 9 and 7.
Okay. All right, those are the only questions that I had.
So, I have a couple of questions. The children that you have abused, are any of those children related to you? Are
No,
they
ma'am.
they're not your children?
No, ma'am.
And you stated that you were just recently released with a clean bill from, I'm assuming that's some kind of a mental evaluation or a rehab program?
It's called Sand Ridge Secure Treatment Center, and it's deemed to see if I was a sexually violent person or not,
Okay.
and I ended up being I didn't fit the criteria of a sexually violent person.
So how do you go about getting documentation of that decision?
I actually have documentation. I just have to go back to get it, or I did have copies of some of my cases with that letter that you guys have. It might state in there that, if you click onto it, it might state that I was not a sexually violent person.
I was gonna say, I was unable to read the emails. They were, I don't know, they
Alderman
didn't.
Schutte, there was a court case it was filed in February 2021, where the state of Wisconsin petitioned for him to be, Christian to be designated a Chapter 980. That was denied by the court, and he was deemed not to be a 980. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He's deemed to not be a 980.
Correct, that's a 980 designation is for a sexually violent criminal.
Okay.
The offenses that he was convicted of have, still exist. He was still
Right.
convicted of the original crimes that he committed against the two children. But at some point, the state felt that he should be designated a sexually violent offender. It didn't happen, though. The courts felt that there was not enough evidence, if I'm reading the record correctly.
Oh, okay,
Does that
okay.
make sense?
Yeah, I guess I misunderstood initially.
So is that essentially them saying he is no longer a risk?
No.
Okay,
It's a specific designator that they use for lifetime registrations on the sex offender registry.
Okay.
And he did not meet that criteria that he needed to be a
No, the
lifetime?
courts found that the state hadn't presented enough evidence,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, the judge found probable cause to continue. So there was some evidence, but it doesn't sound like there was enough to, the way it's saying there, it wasn't able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, is what the.
That's exactly what the judge said.
Beyond the risk and beyond the risk and the numbers, my numbers of sexual recidivism was actually low, and so there was no, that was also part of the fact that I didn't meet the criteria. Also, I also met with, two, evaluators, and they also actually 3, they also fit me deemed to not be a sexually violent person.
Okay. If I'm reading your letter correctly, you wish to live in a property with another adult and children, and it sounds like those children are your children?
Correct,
Okay. All by the same mother?
correct.
Okay.
Is that you, ma'am?
Yes.
And how long have you been living here?
Almost a year now.
Okay. And you just recently came here, right? When you were,
I was here, about a year now in Kiel.
okay.
I was in foster care here in Holstein or in Kiel as well for about not 6 years, but in foster care here and, pretty much aged out of foster care and then stayed here as an adult for
came back.
Jennifer?
And maybe we should get her name for the record.
Jennifer
too.
Young?
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and it indicated that you are considering getting married?
Yes,
Okay. And how long have you now been here?
I've been here for almost 2 weeks.
Okay. So you're at the end of your grace period?
Yes, on the 11th.
And where do you reside?
620 12th Street, Lot Tennessee.
So you're actually residing at that address right now?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's working very good.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
The officers, came to, when they told me about it, they also told me that it was like, 700 feet, but when I actually went to the police station and got the records, it stated 1,000 feet, but on the internet also, it says 1,056 feet. So I didn't know, but the officer stated that it starts from, it doesn't start from where the park is, it starts from the sidewalk. So,
Just to clarify, the ordinance reads 1,000 feet.
right,
And the measurements are taken from the property boundaries. So the property boundary that you're talking about measuring to the park or the school or the area concerned cannot be within that 1,000 feet. So it could be 300 feet, 200 feet, and when you said 1,056, you're indicating a measurement you took?
no, there is a measurement on, precisely, but on
Okay.
the internet, it states that it was.
That's
on
according
the
to Google Maps, the
That's-
0.2
Google Maps,
miles.
Okay.
Okay.
on Google
All right.
Maps, it stated that it was 1,056 feet
Gotcha.
Depending on where you measure from.
from my home.
Yeah, Lions Park, they're probably dropping that pin in the center of the park.
Instead of at the
And that's
corner?
where the measurement is
And
being
that's
taken from.
That's a common mistake.
Correct.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so it starts from the actual, and what the police told me, that it starts from the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Starts with the
closest-
boundary.
The closest point, yes. We had a case less than a year ago where somebody unknowingly took up residence within 1,000 feet, less than 1,000 feet, because they weren't familiar with what the school boundaries were. And that request was denied because the boundary rule was not met. It was way less than 1,000 feet.
From this case, it states that I'm literally 1,000 feet.
I don't believe that's correct.
This is what, the police, this is just what he just showed you and what he just stated, that it was 1,000 feet. Actual 1,000 feet
Then you
from where I'm
wouldn't need
standing.
to be here. If it wasn't 1,000 feet or greater, you wouldn't need to be here.
That's what the map, and that's what he just showed you, sir.
Anything within that yellow circle, you would be in violation of it.
And Terrace Park
The
is,
entire road that your
That's
your
that's
residence
from
is on
that
is within
point
1,000
to
feet.
Park,
yeah.
Which is the closest point to your residence. That, the
So
1,000 feet is
Yeah,
the,
either
it's the
way.
circle.
Yes,
Yeah.
it cannot be within that 1,000 feet,
Okay, so,
which, as John stated, is the reason that he's here.
but he's essentially been clean of anything since what, 21, 20?
20 was the last thing I saw on record.
And those counts were not related to any kind of child sexual abuse or,
Well, the top one was a sexual assault, I'm not exactly sure what that was, but
Oh,
it was,
in
it was
20.
a hold for some probation violation.
okay. So you've essentially been clean for about 4 years?
Correct.
Well, I guess this is either a yes or a no, correct? So if we vote to allow him, there is no revoking that, correct? He would, if there was another offense, then he would be arrested again, correct? And go through the,
Yeah?
in a house with five.
The ordinance was created to protect and safeguard the citizens of our community.
And I understand that, and you have to say, I'm concerned with 5 children being in the house as well.
What the ordinance talks about is the city council is to convene and consider the public interest as well as the affected parties' presentation and concerns, and then after deliberation, the council is to make its decision and give it to the police department. So that's what the ordinance talks about.
And that's consideration of, waiving the 1,000-foot boundary rule. It doesn't really have anything to do with the other factors.
Correct. The Kiel talks about waiving the 1,000-foot.
Right.
So his residency has already been denied because it falls within a violation of our ordinance. He cannot live there based on the definition and the conditions of our ordinance. He has appealed that and is asking the city council to make an exception to allow him to live there based on his request and the concerns that he raised.
I'm not willing to do that. I'm sorry, but I'm not willing to do that. I don't want to create another precedent. We voted on this once before, less than a year ago, and I would be consistent with what I did before.
Did that year ago person have a violation?
Yes.
So you're basing your decision on that person?
I'm basing it off the 1,000 feet.
Well, on your behalf, Mr. Cleghorn, the fact that you explored this, obviously, before you're in violation, correct? Because he has his 14 days, so he's not in violation as of this minute.
Correct. The ordinance allows for a visitor to stay.
For 14 days,
14
okay. And that you're addressing it before the fact instead of after the fact. I do have to say that I believe that's in your favor. However, I know they're your children, but there's 5 of them, and
There are 3, ma'am.
3?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I thought there were 5.
It
Um,
says 5 years old.
Oh, 5 years old. That's where I'm getting the 5.
Yeah, that's where you're getting the 5 from.
Okay, I apologize.
It's okay.
So the 3 children, I don't feel in my heart I can expose those children to your presence full time. I just don't.
Okay, we've had discussion here. Is there you have any more questions or discussion? We would need a motion to,
And the council, it's deliberated, they're done with their
yeah,
deliberations.
if you're done with your deliberation, we need some kind of a motion to accept or deny the petition.
Well, and just to be clear on that, him living with his children is not the issue at hand here.
Well, it's
10,000.
It's the proximity to the park,
correct,
which is a restricted area.
correct.
So
But
I just-
also, the intent of the ordinance is to protect the citizens of this city. And his children are citizens of this city because they have been living here, correct?
He can live with his children anywhere else.
Yeah.
Living
That's-
with his children is not the issue.
Well, it is partly to me.
And it, I'll give you the right there.
Doesn't mean he can't have contact.
I know, I
It
understand that.
just means he can't live there.
Just means that he cannot live within 1,000 feet of a designated area.
So if there's a vacancy outside of the 1,000 feet,
I own my home.
you own your,
I put all my money into my home. I can't just jump and move.
Okay.
I can't sell it quickly like that. I don't have backup money to move right away, but I'm willing to put forth that effort to be with him and my children. So if we have to move, we'll move.
well, and I think
And that
there's,
would be, if, in that case, will I be able to stay here, but beyond the 1,000 feet, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
Absolutely, there is no question, no issue, as long as you do not reside within 1,000 feet of the designated area according to our ordinances.
Christian, if you
Yeah,
decide to move to another community, I would strongly suggest, before you purchase anything or sign any rental agreement, that you check with the local police department or sheriff's office to see if there is an existing ordinance.
Okay.
Because this happens a lot, unfortunately, where people come to live or rent a property and find out after the fact that they're, not so much with rental properties, because most of the landlords know, and there's actually conditions that landlords are required to notify people of it. So it'll save you from having to go through something like this.
And if you find something in Kiel, come and talk to me again, because I can measure it out for you too before you sign anything, to let you know whether it's inside or not, okay?
Sure.
well, I mean, I don't know what your finances are, but you certainly can find someplace to live for yourself, right, outside of this district, and your kids can come by you, and you can still have close contact. I understand, and I have been dirt poor myself, so I realize that that's, a difficult thing, especially if you haven't got a job yet. But
Okay, we still
I'll
need,
make a motion to deny the appeal of chapter 9, section 28 of Kiel Municipal Code. Roll call.
Second.
any further discussion? Got a motion by Broker, second by Krieger, to deny the appeal of chapters 9, section 28 of the Kiel Code for Mr. Christian Cleghorn. Roll call, Gill,
Yes.
Broker,
Yes.
Shooty,
yes,
Krieger,
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
I'm sorry, good luck. Trying to get squared around.
Okay, number 7, consideration of pedestrian crossing signs as requested by the Kiel Area School District. We met with, at the committee meeting last week about this, and they are requesting and willing to pay for 2 lighted crossing signs at the corner of Adams and North, and the corner of Buchanan and North. That's where most of the kids cross over to the elementary school. And the school district will pay for the signs. We will install them.
Chief, did you install the one on Park Avenue over there?
We're still waiting for the electronics for that sign, yes, it should be here about next week, I guess, so, but it's in the process of going on.
Thank you.
are we allowed discussion at this time? Yes.
Sure.
Okay. I have driven past Zelena's a couple of times, and I've driven those areas, and it's actually in my district, I believe, and they want those signs essentially a block apart. And there is another street in between, and is that Buchanan? That's the dead,
Buchanan's one of them that they wanted on.
okay. Anyway, there's, let me look and see if I can figure this out. There are 3 streets. 2 of them are through streets. One is Adams,
Correct.
and the other one is Buchanan? No.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. And then Buchanan is the street that actually dead ends into the school. And putting lighted crossing signs that close together, I think is actually gonna lose its effectiveness. I know coming down that hill, that first one at Adams, yes, but the second one a block away, I think it would behoove to have those at the streets that go through, because they also have a crossing guard. And my thought is, if they use the crossing guard at that center street that dead ends into the school parking lot, and consider making that street that dead ends there a right turn only, So they couldn't cross trafficking or,
That's
Or-
an in only, first of all. But
yes, but you could
That's one
come
way through.
in from Buchanan into the school.
Correct.
What I am suggesting, Alderman Kroll, is that that intersection make Buchanan a right turn only. So the car could not go across into the school or turn left. They would have to turn right, okay? So that that crossing at that, where that crossing is, the traffic from Buchanan would be taken out of the picture. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I do, but I don't think that the traffic on Buchanan is the issue. The issue is the traffic on North Avenue that is going east and west.
Right.
Whether you're coming down the hill from First Street,
Right.
getting to Adams, or coming off of Cleveland Street, or down on that south, or I'm sorry, the east end, headed past the school west.
And you have two sets of lighted crosswalks less than a block apart. And you don't think that that's gonna get confusing for people?
Not at all. I think if you see bright yellow flashing lights right next to a school, it tells you, I better watch out. There's a
Well-
ton of traffic that goes from that school
Yep.
coming across. People park their cars on Buchanan to pick their kids up.
Yep.
Cleveland Street is kind of out of the way. That is the far southeast corner of the school lot.
Mm-hmm.
Not many people take that. When they come out, they're either crossing at Adams Street, where the crossing guard is, or they're crossing at Buchanan, because that's where the car is parked.
Well, you're gonna have now a flashing crossing sign at Adams.
Correct?
And now you wanna put another one at Buchanan. What are you gonna do with the crossing guard?
The crossing guard will stay there for school hours, as we
Okay.
discussed last week. They are still there in the morning from 7:30 till 8 o'clock, 8:15, whenever the kids get into school. Joe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, roughly 7:30. And then after school, from the time they let out, whatever it is, 2:50, 2:55, until, say, 3:30. Crossing guard will still be there. As Chad presented last week,
Yeah,
Tuesday, this is not only for during the day and
Right.
school hours, but it's also the fact that there's a ton of kids that are trying to get over to that playground. He leaves that playground open 24/7 for the kids to use.
right?
So it's weekends, it's nighttime. If there is something there that those kids can walk over, push a button, sets off flashing lights everywhere, and will alert a driver that's coming down the hill and may not have otherwise been paying attention, I don't see that as a bad thing.
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm just think, and I don't know what the effectiveness distance is, okay, of a flashing sign.
I think you could put 17 of them in a row if you wanted to. It's not gonna make a difference. You're gonna see flashing lights.
You are, and you're either gonna choose to, obey them or not, whether they're one block apart or not. My thought was, most of the equipment, most of the open play area is to the east side of that building, not to the west side.
I would say even with
The
Buchanan.
school district requested these locations because they understand where the kids cross and where the traffic flows.
Correct.
That's what they requested. I don't know why we would change that. It's their request.
I don't either.
It's their request. I think they know what the traffic patterns are there, and they know what the crossing patterns are there. That's why they're requesting it. So that's my 2 cents.
Are you gonna see them lights without anybody pressing them?
No, there's a button on it. It's gonna be just like up by H.G.
Yeah,
Weber
so
here.
then they,
flash after they push the button.
right, so
Correct.
then
And half the time it doesn't
on
work.
the weekends when them kids are
Well,
going
then-
to the,
One on Park
The one by Weber's, my
I s-
husband works at Weber's, half the time it doesn't work.
Oh, I see it go off all the time.
Yeah,
or they don't press.
from way down on Fremont Street.
Excuse me?
I see the one from Weber way down on Fremont Street.
Yeah, exactly.
When I'm going that direction.
Yep. You can see that flashing for a long distance.
But then on
What it-
weekends,
yes.
when they go and use the park, they're not,
The
unless
flashing.
they press them.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You still have to
because-
press the button.
Well, on Park
We're
Avenue,
giving the
it's
kids
same
the
way.
option is what we're doing.
The one
one on Park Avenue is the same way.
Half the time
Yeah.
you don't press them.
Well, so,
Then it's on the
kinda
kids,
their
but
problem. Then it's kinda
we're
their
giving them
problem.
the option at least to
It's an
cross
issue.
that
I
street safer.
guys anyhow, I mean, it's like, come on.
Well, if they're in the
They're in the crosswalk, you have to.
Well, I got news for you, it's a state law
Yes, it
that
is.
if there's somebody in the crosswalk, you have to stop, whether there's a flashing light there or not.
And this just makes it easier to be alerted of that person in the sidewalk. So,
That's approved.
I don't understand why we're having a discussion on this. They're paid for. The only thing, our city's in charge of maintaining after the installation, right?
Yes, we'll maintain them. Yeah.
They've got to be relatively low maintenance. I mean, you can't, they're solar generated or
Yep.
solar powered.
Yep.
So I think it's a non-issue.
Well,
Personally, I can't believe we wasted 5 minutes discussing this. I thought we had it all hashed out last week, but
okay. What's your pleasure?
I propose, or I will make a motion that we approve the pedestrian crossing signs as requested by the Kiel Area School District at the corners of Adams and North and Buchanan Street and North.
Second.
Any more discussion? Motion by Gill, second by Broker, to approve the pedestrian crossing signs as requested by the Kiel Area School District at Adams and North and Buchanan and North. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, 4-1, motion carries. Okay, consideration of ordinance 615, amending chapter 5 for fire protection. The fire department requested change in ordinance to drop their inspections to yearly, I believe.
Once yearly, yes,
Once yearly,
as opposed to,
which is what most other
Semi-annual.
fire departments
Or
are
as
doing now.
necessary.
Or as necessary.
Yeah.
So that's what the ordinance states.
yes, meaning we could do it more often if we
Yes.
deem
Yes.
necessary.
Not exceed 15 months. So the wording of this ordinance was, passed down from the state, the DSPS, we got it straight from them, and to just alleviate some of the burden on the, fire department inspectors. But of course, in more frequent inspection, they are not only, running and going, but designers.
I'll make the motion that we approve amendment 615, amending chapter 5 for fire protection.
I second.
Any other discussion on this one? Motion by Shooty, second by Gill, to approve ordinance 615, amending chapter 5 of the ordinance for fire protection. Roll call, Gill,
Yes.
Broker.
Yes.
Shooty.
Yes.
Krieger.
Yes.
Stockton.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries. Okay, number 9, consideration of ordinance 616, amending chapter 7 of the traffic code for Rockville Road. We have been talking about this for quite some time. This ordinance change removes Rockville Road from, as a heavy traffic route, which would prohibit trucks and heavy semis from driving on Rockville Road. And we would mark the road as accordingly for no-through trucks. That's the change to the ordinance.
Motion to approve amending chapter 5 of ordinance 650, that was the other one, amending chapter 7 of ordinance 616, for Rockville Road.
Second.
Any other discussion on this one? Okay, motion by Broker, second by Shooty, to approve ordinance 616, amending chapter 7 of the traffic code for Rockville Road. Roll call, Gill.
Yes.
Broker.
Yes.
Shooty.
Yes.
Krieger.
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries. Referral of ordinance 617, amending zoning code accessory structure and uses to the planning commission. This is just a referral to the planning commission at this point.
We do have this on the planning commission agenda for tomorrow, so we'll let them know what the scope is.
Yeah.
And this is, adding an additional accessory structure and 600 square footage, allowable for lots greater than 1 acre in size.
So this motion would only be to make the referral, correct?
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we refer Ordinance 617, amending zoning code accessory structure and use to planning commission.
Second. Any other discussion on this one? Motion by Shudi, second by Krieger to refer ordinance 617, amending the zoning code for accessory structure and uses to the planning commission. Roll call Gill.
Yes.
Roker.
Yes.
Shudi.
Yes.
Krieger.
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries. Number 11, delegation of authority to approve special events permits to the city administrator, chief of police, fire chief, general manager of utilities, clerk treasurer, and Department of Public Works foreman or their designee indefinitely. We tried this for a year, and it worked.
We've done it a couple of years in a row.
We've done it a couple of years in a row, so we're just making this a permanent thing, that they take care of special event permits.
Motion to approve the delegation of authority to approve special events permits to the city administrator, chief of police, fire chief, general manager of utilities, clerk treasurer, and Department of Public Works foreman or their designees indefinitely.
Second.
Any other discussion on this one? Okay, motion by Broker, second by Shudi, to approve the authority to approve the special events permits to the city administrator, chief of police, fire chief, general manager of utilities, clerk treasurer, and Department of Public Works foreman or their designee indefinitely. Roll call Gill.
Yes.
Broker.
Yes.
Shudi.
Yes.
Krieger.
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries. Number 12, authorizing and consuming alcohol on Fremont Street for 1 hour before through 1 hour after the Kiel Parade on Sunday, August 11th.
Motion to approve.
Seconded.
Motion by Broker, second by Gill, to authorize consuming alcohol on Fremont Street for 1 hour before through 1 hour after the Kiel Parade on Sunday, August 11th, 2024. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carry. Approve receipts and disbursements.
Move to approve receipts and disbursements.
Second.
Motion by Krieger, second by Actor, to approve receipts and disbursements. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 14, approve bills.
Move to approve all bills.
Second.
Motion by Krieger, second by Broker, to approve all bills. Roll call Gill.
Yes.
Broker.
Yes.
Shudi.
Yes.
Krieger.
Yes.
Actor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. And donations, agility equipment for the dog park by Will L.
That was as much as his name is wanted to share, but he did donate, agility equipment to the dog park. That
Yes.
I've
is
seen some
out
up there.
Yes, it's
That's
got
nice.
the in and out
Yeah,
pegs, and
very
it's
nice.
got the
Nice little addition.
teeter totter, and it's, yes, it's beautiful. And it's being used a lot. The dog park has been very, very active. And I do call frequently to remind them.
Okay.
So looking for a motion to
Motion
approve
to
the
accept the
donation?
donation.
I will make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Gill, second by Actor, to approve the donation of agility equipment for the dog park from Will L. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And number 16, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Broker, second by Krieger to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. Surprise.